Because tonight, oh.
How are you starting with this song that nobody else is going to know?
Because you looked at me earlier like the song did not exist.
I didn't look at you like it didn't exist.
You
asked me if I had ever heard that song, and I said no.
You looked at me like it didn't exist, and I'm here to tell you that it is a classic from 1986.
And that's
okay.
Great. I didn't look at you
it's
that
by
way.
Genesis. It's from the Invisible Touch album.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know how I came to know this song growing up, but I did.
That was going to be my other question. How do you know this song?
I think I played a lot in my house.
Okay.
My dad had some very interesting English music selections while I was growing up. I'm sure this one's not very appropriate, but yeah, most songs back in the day weren't appropriate.
And most songs today aren't appropriate.
Well, that's my point. People criticize today's music, but it's no different than the music back in the day.
The world continues to repeat itself over and over again. Music is just as explicit or raunchy as it was back then. We just have better beats behind it.
Agreed. But it's funny because like people nowadays are like, oh my God, that music and the lyrics. And like, it's specifically for me, Spanish music. And people go back and like translate the salsa and the merengues from way back then. And then you translate the words and you're like, wasn't as clean as we'd think. But anyways, hi out there. Hello.
Hey.
Welcome back to another episode. My name is Manny.
And I'm Shawn.
And together we form the Moss Podcast. The Moss Podcast. I wanted the last word.
As you always do.
Of course. So welcome everyone. If you're new here, welcome to our little slice of heaven in the podcast world. Our intro typically runs like that. And to our continuing folks, you already know the madness that happens here. I don't have to explain it to you. But thank you, everyone, for your continued support on the Moss Podcast. Did I do something wrong?
No.
You're looking at me weird.
I'm just watching that cup.
Oh, y'all, Shawn got this really cool cup at work, and I'm like obsessed with it. You think I'm going to drop it or something?
No.
Okay. I'm more concerned that I'm going to drop it too.
I'm concerned about you spilling it, but because it doesn't have a lid.
Order another keyboard. It ain't, man. But yes, everybody, welcome to another episode. Happy to have you along with us. How are you doing, sir?
Tired.
Tired. You're tired of me or just tired in general?
Tired in general. It was team week at work, which meant I was in the office Tuesday through Friday.
Oh no, you had to go into
Don't
work?
do that. So team week happens once a year where everyone comes in. We have 3 employees that are remote, air quotes. They're not in this area. So they come in, the team here gets together. We have different speakers. We do team building events.
I love team building.
This year they were just very long days, but I'm happy it's Friday.
Yes. Friday.
How are you doing?
I'm good. You know, I'm surviving the day, the weeks. People are blaming rude ass people on the full moon. I just say people are just rude in general. But
they're always trying to blame it on something other than people are just rude.
Sounds like what we're going to talk about a little later today in the podcast. Anyways, but yeah, I'm doing okay. Work is work. You know, just happy to be here once again recording our amazing podcast together.
With no technical difficulties.
Knock
on wood.
And at a very early time on a Friday.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah. Oh, happy Easter to those who celebrate. I'm very careful saying that because I know there's a lot of different religious things happening around this period of time, and I don't want to be disrespectful to anybody. So happy Easter to celebrate. Happy whatever. Oh, that sounds really mean. I celebrate whatever it is that you are celebrating.
You do.
I don't. I honor
whatever you celebrate.
Yes. Happy holidays.
Happy that.
Happy
holidays.
Religious holidays.
Sure. That covers everyone. There you go.
And happy bunny day to those who just are in it for the bunny.
The kids.
The kids. I don't know. We did an adult egg hunt once, remember? We were in Dallas.
We did.
That was fun. It was adult oriented. Not like that.
Why does anytime anybody says adult oriented, the first thing people go to is sex?
Because we live in America.
Okay. Continue on.
But the Easter eggs had like little alcoholic things, like
little bottles.
Or
there was cash.
And I think there were some
lottery
joints.
Tickets?
Lottery tickets. There were some weed joints. It was a whole lot of fun. I didn't get any of the good ones.
I think I got cash.
You did get cash. I just got a regular Easter egg with candy.
Bum, bum, bum.
It wasn't very adult-like. But it was fun to see a bunch of adults run into the
That was fun.
Oh, man, that was awesome. But whatever you celebrate this weekend or when, well, you may hear this after the weekend. I hope it was a nice holiday season with your family and friends.
Okay, we're going to move away from this topic.
Yeah, because I'm feeling very uncomfortable. Shall we do this today?
Yes.
All right. Let's move into the issue on the table. Oh, you left me hanging there. You didn't say shit.
We don't always have to say it in unison, do we?
Okay, Tina, we're going to start changing things up on the podcast.
Oh, no, you said you fired Tina earlier, so don't call me Tina.
I did fire Tina, my assistant. She just wasn't keeping up with me. And so now I hired, what name was it again?
You already forgot his name?
I did forget his name.
I don't remember.
I think it was Craig. It was Craig.
Sure.
Craig is my new assistant. So we'll see how he does. Might have to get him fired too. Before y'all go crazy, I don't have a real assistant. It's just Google Assistant. I like to think I have an assistant. I have conversations with them during the day. Well, our issue on the table today, I say could be like part 2 from last week, but we're not going to focus on the topic from last week, but more so what has come of the mass shooting that happened in Tennessee.
Basically, the aftermath.
The aftermath, where Tennessee
has lost his fucking mind. Okay. Sorry. Continue.
Where Tennessee, yes, they have lost their fucking mind. But I was going to allude more towards the people uprising, the young people saying enough is enough. It is time for gun legislation.
Past time.
In case you do not live in the U.S. and you did not hear our last episode, there was yet another mass shooting in the state of Tennessee. Recently, Tennessee House of Representatives or legislation, whatever the fuck we're going to call them, disaster, inadequate to lead. I can just keep coming up with words. So they were trying to debate said gun reform, and there was, spectators in the House as legislators were talking, and people started getting loud, blah, blah, blah. Essentially, the people that are for gun reform were being pretty much not listened to. So they started chanting. 3 Democratic members of the body went towards what they call the, I don't know what the fuck they call it, the corral. They call it something stupid. It's a goddamn desk. The podium. The podium where people go to argue whatever is on the floor. The three members that approached the podium were Representative Justin Jones from Nashville, Justin Pearson from Memphis, and then Gloria Johnson representing Knoxville area. So these three members went up and were chanting with the protesters, and one had a bullhorn, one had a sign, I think, and this just pissed the Republicans off.
Yes, I think it's important to mention, I don't know if you did, that these three were Democrats.
I thought I said that, but
okay.
Always good to fact check me.
Fine.
So fast forward to this past Thursday, where the House of Representatives thought in Tennessee, specifically the Tennessee body, we're not talking about the full Congress, decided that these three individuals violated the chamber's rule of decorum by participating in a gun control protest state's capital last week. At one point, during the protest, the trio stood at the well. It is called the well. It's a desk of the House chamber, leading chants with a megaphone. The demonstration came in wake of a deadly shooting in Nashville on March 27th. I've seen the video. Have you seen the video?
I've seen parts of the video and I've heard the speaking. I've seen the young people protesting within the halls and the cops dragging them out.
That's normal. We drag people out in peaceful protests.
We do. But yes, I have.
Unless you're inciting an entire riot on a,
Oh, we'll get to that.
So I saw the video and I didn't see anything wrong with the video. Now, I guess there's a rule of decorum that you don't speak until you're allowed to speak, and you can't approach the well until you have been allowed to approach the well. But quite frankly, I didn't see the need for expulsion.
No one else did either.
It's actually a bit extreme.
Yeah, because usually I believe they would be fined or you get a suspension.
Censured, something like that.
Sure. But to jump to expulsion was extreme since it hasn't been done since the 1800s.
Yes, originally the 1800s. Civil War time frame.
Oh, Jesus, we need new laws.
So, the Speaker of the Tennessee House went on to say that it was an insurrection.
Y'all know my favorite saying, words mean things.
Everybody say it together. Words mean things.
An insurrection is a completely different thing than a protest. An insurrection is what happened on January 6th. I know y'all want to call it a friendly picnic get-together where some patriots were upset about election results, but that is not the case.
It was far from it. And it was just protesting, which I think one of them, I can't remember if it was Jones or Pearson that said, well, this country not found on the origins of protest. Was it not?
It was.
And every movement that has helped disenfranchised communities move forward a bit has been because of protest.
Right. And they were, even though they may have been chanting or whatever, no one threw a spear, there were no guns, no one broke a window and crawled through it and then was shot by police like that one lady during January 6th. Exactly. Y'all remember that?
Or punched police officers.
Or
said they wanted to hang the speaker.
So let's look at the definition of insurrection.
Oh, yes.
It's a noun. It's a violent uprising against an authority or government. So there was no violence that happened. There, like we said, no one died. There was no stabbings, no shootings, no tear gas. Someone had a megaphone. Kids were shouting different chants. And that's what it was. So to call it an insurrection is misleading and disgusting.
Well, it's like you and I kind of talked about last night was the extreme right is dying for there to be a Democratic-led insurrection of sorts because they're tired of being pigeoned on to the January 6th insurrection at the National's Capitol.
Which they try to flip, and I forget what they tried to call it, but it wasn't that.
It's Antifa.
Anyway, continue on.
So, from my perspective, again, it wasn't. Yes, maybe they, and I think one of them did acknowledge that we may have broken a rule of approaching the well without being acknowledged, but it was not an insurrection. It was not a call to action of revolting or attacking members of Congress, police officers, blowing up, nothing. There was none of that. So the actions that the Republican Party took in Tennessee was to bring up a resolution to have the 3 members expelled. They were given 20 minutes to speak, to fight their case. We could have been here for 5 hours talking about all their speeches, or at least 2 of their speeches. But a lot of the stuff they said was just facts. It was nothing more than a power grab by the Republicans. Also, it was just an overreaction to it. And they said they did it, some said they did it because you can't set that standard or precedent that they can do that in the House.
I mean, precedent. So we should set a precedent for there being no assault rifles and no school shootings. Like, that is what we are asking for. It is a simple conversation that the right refuses to have because, like we said last week, they're in the pockets of these gun lobbyists. They're in the pockets of the NRA. Like, they basically bow down to these people and could give a shit about your children. As much as they talk about protecting children, no abortions. My God, do y'all talk our ears off about that shit. But when it comes to guns, you are oddly quiet.
100. So the 2 of the 3 members were expelled from the body.
The black ones.
Yes. The black ones were the ones that were expelled. Gloria Johnson, who was the other Democrat that joined in, fell short by 1 vote of being expelled. So somebody felt bad for her. I don't know what happened there. I mean, if we're going to look at it from the rule of your reasons for expelling these members, all 3 of them should have been expelled. Whether, as she claimed, she did not use the bullhorn or something along those lines. I'm like, no, you have to treat them all equally if that's what we're basing it on.
I mean, if she was a part of the protest, then, and that is what y'all are going off, then she should have been expelled too.
100. Jones, in his speech when he was given his 20 minutes, he highlighted some moments of that Tennessee chamber of which folks have not been expelled. For example, somebody sat or sits still in that chamber that has been found guilty of domestic violence. A former person in that chamber urinated on another member's chair and was not expelled from the body.
Bitch, what?
If I understood him correctly, he's actually working under the governor's leadership now.
Wait, this man pissed on somebody's chair and he's still in there?
He's no longer a member of the body, but he is now a member.
But he still got a job.
Yes.
Girl, continue.
So those were just 2. There was some other examples he said. So if you're interested, definitely check out Justin Jones's speech on the floor. But it was pretty much calling the hypocrisy of the extreme Republicans that always want to cast stones, but when it comes to their people, we're going to look the other way.
I'm not going to say my favorite words, but once again, we just see how America is slowly just becoming, that's not the word I'm looking for. I saw the video of the protesters. These are young kids, Gen Z, screaming fascists at these people because
that's what they are.
It seems like that is what the right is becoming or wants to become, is fascists. They want to take over everything. They want to take over government. They want to make laws to prevent people from having rights, to prevent people from speaking up against them, which is the entire reason we came to this fucking country. Like, yes, it was for no religious persecution, but also to be able to speak up and about the government when we disagree with them. Ron DeSantis has been the greatest example of say something bad about me and I'm going to come at you. Mm-hmm. We saw it with Disney. We saw it with this hotel recently that had a drag show who he took away their liquor license.
Yeah, down in Miami.
He continues to just show that he is more and more of a fascist every single day, but it's not only him. The extremists on the right, the ones that we call MAGA Republicans, the ones who are using laws to just make their will the way and damn the people. Yep. Again, here in Florida, we elected someone for Hillsborough County for Attorney General. Actually, I don't know if that's besides the point. But he said something in which Mr. DeSantis disagreed with and stripped him of his title. Now, this is an elected official, just like these people in Tennessee. These are elected officials. And for you to be able to come in and be like, I don't like what you did, I don't like what you said, remove them and then replace them with your own people who are now of your party just so that you have more power. In Tennessee, it may be a different situation.
Let's not confuse both here. Different situations.
But this is scary because if he can do this here, imagine him on a national stage, right? Imagine this at a federal level. If we continue to just let this happen and don't do anything, if we don't protest against these people, if we just stay silent, if we don't vote. Yes, I know people like, vote. My vote doesn't count. Your vote does fucking count. And these children, if anything, have shown most of these kids can't even vote yet, but they understand that what these people are doing is wrong and it will affect them by the time they are able to vote.
Right. Because
the laws that these people are putting in place will affect them greatly.
Okay. Getting a little off topic there because you're going down Florida.
Well, this is not just Florida. I'm talking about Tennessee as well.
Know, but today we're talking about Tennessee specifically. So let's not jungle down in Florida and confuse people. So in Tennessee, the governor cannot appoint I forgot who appoints, but they can appoint an interim person or I believe the city council or commission or something along those lines can reappoint them back. And I can't confirm the fact, but I believe I read, I don't know if it's Jones or Pearson, that they are willing to vote him back in to he'll have his seat again. Or they have to do a special election, of which they can run again.
Okay.
In that special election. But yeah, I get your big picture that states are slowly trying to restrict and take away people that vote differently or say differently and that are not of their party.
Right. And I was kind of taking it from his speech where he was saying that this should be a wake-up call for America.
Yes.
Because this, I mean, we're already on a dangerous path, but this is much more evidence and reason for people to wake up. And I'm not saying woke, because they have taken that word and
made it
something completely different than what it should be. But
so, as I said, 2 of them were expelled. Gloria Johnson wasn't. One of the interesting things to me was they were expelled for what they did, but yet we had the president's State of the Union as an example, where Marjorie Taylor Greene consistently stood up along with other colleagues and heckled the president. Is that not reasons for expulsion?
I mean, if we were playing by Tennessee rules, sure, but we weren't.
Right.
So
I'm like, the hypocrisy continues. Johnson, who is the one that wasn't expelled, was asked if she thought there was a reason she'd had a different outcome. Her answer was, I'll answer your question. It might have to do with the color of our skin. So essentially, she's I don't know if she's white or Latina or what, but she's not black. And that's kind of what she was getting at in terms of the expulsion. Would you like me to read some quotes from them?
From the people that were expelled?
Yes.
Sure.
In his speech, Jones called the majority Republican membership, many who have said they would vote to expel the members, a lynch mob that is eager to enact the ultimate punishment against him, Johnson, and Pearson. Which is true. Like, they had already said they were going to expel him without even approaching his 20-minute speech that they agreed upon in the resolution. They also talked about the countless papers of accusations. Apparently, one of them was during their recess time and said they were disrupting the order of the House, whereas he was on a recess, and I think he was with the protesters at that point. I'm like, bitch, I'm on my break. That's essentially what he's saying.
Right. How can I be disturbing anything that's going on if we're in recess?
Right. So, I mean, it truly is crazy. Every week we come on here, we're like, we're not going to talk about politics. But it just, every week somebody gives us something to just jump back on it. And this is just a pure example of getting rid of anything that is not of the Republican thought in mind.
Yeah, this just seemed like these 2 Black members of Congress are doing something that we don't like. They're also protesting guns, and we're going to punish them for doing so.
Right.
And that's what they did.
Pretty much. Like Jones said, I represent 78,000 people. When I came to the well that day, I was not standing for myself. I was standing for those young people, many of whom can't even vote yet, many of whom who are disenfranchised, but all of whom are terrified by the continued trend of mass shootings plaguing our state and plaguing our nation.
I mean, everything that he said in his speech, like Manny said, please go watch it if you haven't seen it.
Both of them, yeah.
Both of them.
You can skip Gloria. She's too busy defending her ass.
It's very true. People are sick and tired of being sick and tired, to use his words. We are over it. We are over the mass shootings. We are over the school shootings. But every time we do it, it's just thoughts and prayers, and nothing changes and nothing gets done. So if I have to come in here where I'm supposed to represent the people that voted for me and do what I do, then that's what I'm going to do. Because otherwise, you're not listening to me anyway. You're not listening to them. But I am here to represent them because they elected me to do so.
And that's why they're elected, right? It's interesting. I put on Instagram what people thought. And somebody said along the lines of, it's a distraction. And I was like, yeah, there is. The party that looks for distractions to make you look the other way instead of at the real issue. COVID's over. We can't blame shit on COVID. Well, COVID's not over, but the pandemic itself is no longer
a main focus.
Right. So now, where do we fix our focus?
The trans and the gays.
Trans and gays.
And drags.
And drag. And then now there was a mass shooting. Now we want to talk about guns. They're like, nah, fuck that. We're not going to talk about guns. Better yet, we're going to expel you. Just putting up another screen on the root issue. And we said it last week. And if this is your first time listening to us, we are not against gun ownership. We are for responsible gun control. There is no need for weapons of military caliber in Joe Smith's hands down the street. He just don't need it for nothing. Okay. I saw this. It was meant as a joke online, but it spoke truth. Like, it was like, when our founding fathers agreed on guns, a musket didn't show out 176 rounds in a minute or a second.
No, I think the law would be very different if that was the case.
Like, a musket was like, shoot it. Then you gotta fucking pick up a little ball and you gotta load that bitch back up and clog it in and shoot it again. Like, they were like, oh, well, that's fine. They can own one of these, right? The amount of guns that people own in houses is insane to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you're truly using it for protecting your dwelling and potentially you take up hunting as a sport, you maybe need one. I don't know anything about guns. A handgun to defend your house, and then what? A rifle? That's not considered a.
It's not considered a what? An assault rifle?
Yeah. No.
Well, it depends what you're talking about. Most of what you're talking about is like a AR-15. Like, those are not needed.
No.
By every.
The only people that need that is the U.S. Navy or the U.S. military. All branches, whatever. They're the only ones that need that because they're the only ones that are going to face that kind of need.
Yeah, Joe Blow down the street does not need an AR-15.
We need to remove those from our communities, and that's it. Like, you won't have somebody storming somewhere just spraying bullets. Mass shootings are not going to stop. I know they're not. But when we take away such a weapon that is predominantly used in military combat, it lessens the potential danger for communities, schools, shopping centers, movie theaters, concerts. These are all places mass shootings have happened in the United States.
Yeah, at this point, it doesn't matter where you go. You always have to look over your shoulder or know where the closest exit is or any place that you could get out of somewhere quickly just in case anything happens.
Right.
And it's sad, but this is the world we live in.
Right. If this incident teaches anybody, is that now when you speak up, the power that be is just going to knock you down.
But we also can't take that and lay down with it.
No, and that's what I like that's coming out of this, is that it is causing the younger generation to get involved.
Right. And I don't know where I read this or heard this, but like someone was saying that they didn't see a bunch about this on their Twitter feed, but it was all over TikTok. Mm-hmm. It was like every other TikTok was talking about his speech or the protest and what was going on. Mm-hmm. And it is a wake-up call. Like, the old guard is here, right? And it's hard to get rid of them. Mm-hmm. They just get older and they continue to hang the fuck on.
When you sell your soul to the devil, you apparently live very long.
Right. But also, there was a recent election, and y'all forgive me because I don't remember where it was, where and I think Ocasio tweeted it, where Gen Z was a major player in it and allowed that person, the Democrat, to win by, I think, like 40 points ahead of the Republican nominee, because the young people are paying attention. Y'all think that all these kids do is TikTok and do silly dances and they're not in tune with what's going on in the world. But when you are the ones going to school every day and have to worry about whether you are going to go back home, mm-hmm. you pay attention.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the big theme out of this conversation today is that it's causing that awareness amongst everyone. It's going now beyond gun control. It's now about we demand to be represented. We demand to be represented. We demand that the people that we elect through a democratic process are allowed to serve appropriately. And I think that conversation is now happening at a greater scale. And I think it was Jones that said, the nation is looking at us, the world is looking at us now. As if having 45 as a president didn't have the world look at us enough. I think this speaks volumes.
It really does. The world as a whole was already watching us, I feel, when 45 was elected and saw how that administration handled a lot of situations poorly. We've had mass shootings since forever, and the world watches how we handle those poorly and continue to handle them poorly. And I think they see how divided we are as a people. And the country that is supposed to be so great and so
free.
Thank you. That is the word out, freedom.
I know it's hard to remember that one because it's not much anymore.
It's not. I mean, they scream it all the fucking time, but free for some, not for all. And it's sad that this is how the U.S. is being portrayed. Not being portrayed, but this is just how the U.S. is.
Right. It truly is disturbing, and the only good that comes out of this is that there's a larger conversation being had. I saw some Republicans outside of the state of Tennessee who are like, what the fuck just happened? Like, they're like, there was no case for what was done in Tennessee. So even the some members of the Republican Party are even like, this was extreme. It doesn't make us look good. And it's not going to potentially lead to good outcomes from this point.
Yeah. For in
the state of Tennessee, maybe. I mean, state of Tennessee is the state of Tennessee.
I mean, yeah.
But on a grander scale, what does that speak to as we head into another election year?
Oh, God. Not ready for that.
One final note on that. President Biden, in a statement Thursday, called the expulsion shocking, undemocratic, and without precedent, and criticized Republicans for not taking more action on gun control. So it's gotten a lot of conversation. And I think we also can't dismiss the race. Allow me to pull up some data here, if I may. So Memphis, Tennessee, of which Justin Pierce represents, has an average population of 63% African American. So disenfranchising the people that sent him to office to represent him. And the other two counties that are represented, Nashville, or cities really, Nashville and, damn it, I forgot where Johnson's from. Knoxville, thank you. They lie within the top Black and brown communities, essentially.
Of course. Never mind. That's a whole nother.
It's a whole nother day and a whole nother talk, but I wanted to mention that. In that state, there's also been a lot of redistricting of maps and congressional seats, which also has limited the accessibility for Democrats to potentially win.
Yeah, I still don't understand how they can do that. I mean, that's the only way they can win most of their districts is by redistrict and redrawing lines.
Yeah.
Why isn't that a thing? Why isn't there a law against that? Or you can only do it a certain amount of times and it has to be fair for both sides? Because the only way Republicans win is when they cheat.
Right. If you're not from the U.S., every state has districts where elected officials represent. I think they're positioned based on population, but the members of the state's legislation can redistrict those maps as they see fit. There's only a handful of states in the US that do not allow for that. They're required to have a third party company do it or committee.
They all should.
Right. But most states, like here in Florida and Tennessee, Congress can just take up the rewriting of boundaries and make it in their advantage, essentially, so the Republican can win. So we just wanted to talk about that. We didn't want to talk too much about guns again, but we think it's an important topic to know that elected officials are now being expelled for the minimalist thing in the United States. We have now set that precedent because I foresee this happening more in the U.S. Because they're like, Tennessee did it, we can do it.
Yeah.
So, but that was our little conversation. Anything else you wanted to say on that? I mean, we could talk all day and go around in circles. At the end of the day, it was uncalled for. It was unnecessary. It was super overreactive. And sadly, once again, the picture of racism is painted in America, even though they say it is not.
I just thought it was funny that Marjorie, this has nothing to do with Tennessee. I just thought it was funny that Marjorie Taylor Greene went to New York to protest on behalf of 45 by herself, and she got swarmed and drowned out by protesters.
Because somebody giving her a better megaphone. It was so small.
She looked like she bought that shit off of Amazon before she left home.
Shit, I had a bigger megaphone than marching band. So yeah, I think that we just wanted to get that out and have that conversation. Let us know what you think. I did ask it on Instagram, but by the time this comes out, that question will be dead. But essentially, I agree. It's a distraction. It's an unnecessary distraction. It is taking away from the work that needs to be done in the state of Tennessee. Well, I guess we're done with that, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, let us know what you think in our social. We may respond to you. I always respond. Unless you're selling us shit. Don't come sell us shit.
Yes, we don't need you to promote us by us paying you money.
Right. That doesn't make sense. That's like applying for a scholarship, but paying for it. Students have done that. I'm like, you should never pay for a scholarship.
I don't even know what to say to that.
All right. Well, it's time to move on down to the corner. Go ahead, sir.
Hey, everyone. Come on down. Join me in my corner. All right, y'all. Today, I just wanted to have a heart-to-heart conversation. Something that I have been working with my therapist with is relationships and friendships. Repairing or trying to fix those that I may have thought were broken or ones that were neglected, and, doing what I could do to be a better friend or a better relative, for lack of a better word, for family. We all have friends. Sometimes because of work, family, life in general, you're just not able to connect with people as much, or you lose touch with people. And, that can go on for months. It can go on for years. And sometimes you miss that person and you want to reach out to them, but you're not sure what to say or what to do. That has happened to me. In working with my therapist, the best thing that you can do is just to do it. I have had plenty of friends that I feel like I have lost contact with or I'm just not as close with. And that has also happened with family members. And I have we started a list and, you know, I worked my way through the list and I just started reaching out to people. And the reception may not always be what you think it will be. It might be good. You might not receive anything back, but at least you did it. You tried. For me, it has been a positive reaction so far. In rekindling those relationships with people that I have lost contact with, I still have more people to reach out to. But I just wanted to give some perspective on that in case anyone is feeling that way. If you have someone in your life that you enjoyed having in your life, you had a great time, you had a great relationship, you had a great friendship, and because of time and other things, because life gets busy, you just haven't reached out to that person in a while, send them a text, send them an email, ask them how they're doing. You know, we don't have to apologize for life getting in the way, but like if there's someone out there that you truly value and you truly miss, there's nothing wrong with reaching out to them to let them know how you feel. And just be prepared for whatever reaction that you get back. You can't control what that person is going to respond to you, but know in your heart that you did what you thought was best, and you tried. And that's all you can do. So that's my corner. It's going to be short and sweet this week. That's my corner. It's going to be short and sweet this week. Just get out there, try,
and vote. Oh, wait, we weren't talking about that. Sorry.
I mean, you should vote whenever and everything. But yes, get out there and try to rebuild those relationships or friendships and just see what happens.
Or if not, say fuck it and move on.
There's that too.
I mean, that's Manny's philosophy. Sorry.
I mean, that's fine. Some people feel that way. Like, again, like you can't control what that other person is going to respond to you. But you also should not let that response dictate the way that you feel about that person. We all outgrow people, each other sometimes, and that's okay. That's also a part of life. I've outgrown plenty of people.
That's what Nicole said on Best Friend. It's okay. Okay.
It is okay.
Yeah. What does it say? People are sometimes in your life for a season?
People are either in your life for a reason or they're in your life for a season.
There you go. Gotta get rid of those seasonals. But you can check in on the seasonals and see if they want to be, what's the first one? People are in your life
for a reason.
And they may want to come back to the reason side. Or maybe they just wanted to be spring and now they're gone.
Or you check on them every other season,
I mean, there are some friendships that are like that. You just check in and that's it.
Right.
Well, is that a friendship?
Friendships you don't have to speak to someone every day or every month for them to be a friend.
I would never expect a friend to talk to me every day.
I mean, some people do talk to their friends every day. Friendships are different relationships for everybody. For me personally, I didn't know how to approach certain people. And that was something that I worked on in therapy because I was afraid that so much time had passed that if I reach out now, then that person probably isn't going to be receptive to me. But that was a fear that I had to overcome. And if it's something that you really believe in and something that you deep down want to do, you shouldn't let fear stop you from doing that. because once I reached out and I got a positive response back, it was validation for me having those feelings. And so it erased the fear for me. But yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. I mean, I agree with you. I sometimes reach out to people I haven't talked to in a while, and you usually get very small answers, and you just, well, cool.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's important to know that friends can outgrow themselves, and it's okay. It's not the end of the world. It's not that you did anything. It's just sometimes people outgrow, your values change, your life changes, as you might get in a relationship, it changes your views on things. Don't push away a friend for a lover. That's just as cruel, but
yes, don't do that.
But if your life kind of changes, your values change or whatnot, it's okay to outgrow people.
Yeah, some people grow and some people stay the same, and is no disrespect to that other person. It's just that we're all on different journeys, and sometimes you just can't take certain people along with you.
Right. I mean, you live your life, as long as you ain't hurting nobody.
Right.
That's what we say here on the Maz podcast. As long as you ain't hurting nobody, go out there and live your life. You want 4 boyfriends and girlfriends? Have 4 boyfriends, girlfriends. It doesn't matter. It's your life. And ain't nobody else's problem.
I mean, the Republicans might have something.
The Republicans will have a lot of problems with that. Well, great conversation there. It's definitely, I think it's something everybody struggles with. Either friends or family.
It is.
At some point in their life.
It is, which is why I wanted to talk about it, because it's something that I am going through.
You're sharing your journey.
Yes.
It's great.
What's your corner?
I don't know. Just step on in.
Okay.
So Manny was not as prepared for this podcast as he should have been. He spent all his time doing research on the main topic. And in fairness, our week has been a little disrupted. Not by your fault. Just there was more requirement of work time. So we didn't get to talk as much about the pod as we normally would in a week. But I just saw that Spain has approved a new transgender law, which breaks ground for LGBTQI rights. The law is called Real and Effective Equality for Trans People. It came into reality on Spain, on March 2nd, 2023, which allows folks that are transgender to change their gender identity in the civil register without undergoing a 2-year hormonal treatment or obtaining a medical diagnosis of gender dysphoria, as required by the previous legislation in Spain. So now you can go and change your gender and have it associated with the gender that you associate with, without having to go through those requirements. And I think that's a big move. I wish more countries would go towards more of that and less of restricting of what transgender people in general.
I agree. That is big, because a lot of people, once they start that transitional period and they tell friends, they tell family, there's still quite a ways to go before, and like we said previously, like not everybody wants the surgery, or not everyone wants to go through that. So
can't afford it,
or your country won't give you health care for it. Anyway, it's big because this is usually a harder step for them.
If your country's not letting you do it, I doubt they're going to change. allow you to change your gender either.
This is usually a harder step for them, especially because they have to jump through so many hoops and hurdles before they can get to that point of changing over just a simple thing like an ID.
Right.
So that's
and,
awesome.
And that's the thing. Like, you may be living as your gender or as the gender that you associate with, but still when it comes to your papers, you're still having to associate with the gender you don't associate with.
Right. Which makes for difficult interactions and conversations.
Right. Like if you go to the airport, or if you go, I don't know, to school or something like that.
Or even to like a bar or something.
Right. So it definitely does create more awkwardness for somebody who has taken the courage to finally live their truth. So snaps to Spain on that.
Yeah, snap Spain.
Spain has always been on my list of places to go.
I would move there if it was financially feasible to do so.
I mean, my corner was really short too. I really wanted to get like the topic right. And it's hard to get some of our topics
it's fine
as correct as possible on this pod because there's so much to research and you never know which article is.
Right. I was going to save this for my last word, but since we're already talking about it,
well, what is your last word?
Oh, thank you for asking. I just want to say thank you to you for putting so much effort into this week. Not that you don't do every week, because you do.
Yeah.
But this week has been very busy for me. I have barely had time when I get home to do anything besides shower and get into bed.
Yesterday, you're like, I want to sit down. I'm like, go take a shower. It's like 9:30.
So yeah, doing a podcast is something that we always wanted to do. And I am thankful to be able to do this with my best friend.
Thank you for being a friend.
But it is a lot of work. It is a lot of work for both of us. I'm not complaining. This is a little peek behind the curtain. It takes a lot of researching things and topics and coming in here and discussing them because we want to make sure that we give you the facts, but we also want to make this entertaining for you. So we want to strive to be the best podcast that we can be. I know a lot of podcasts out there do politics, they do social things, they do pop culture, and these are things that we do in our own way, but it is a lot of work. So I just want to say thank you to you.
Oh, you're welcome.
I think you did a fabulous job.
I tried. I didn't feel as prepared today.
It's okay. We're always going to have those days. We're always going to have those podcasts where we might not feel like it's our best, but I want to thank you again and thank you guys for listening and supporting us because it really does mean a lot because I'm not going to cry. It really does mean a lot.
His eyes are watering.
Because, like I said, we do put a lot of time and effort into this. This is like our own baby, besides Kenji, that we are trying to grow and make it into something. This is not for fame and fortune. This is a passion project. So again, thank you to you and thank you to everyone that listens. That is my last word for this week.
Thank you. Oh, that was very sweet. I don't know about not the fame portion. Yeah. I still want to do my live. You got to be somewhat famous to do a live.
Fine. We get famous enough so that we could do a live.
Thank you so much. And not on YouTube. Like, I want to come out and everybody's like, clapping.
The Strass.
Well, that sounds expensive. I was thinking like more like the small theater at the Strass.
It's still the Strass.
The Tampa Electric Room or something.
Oh, we're doing a conference room?
No, they do small plays there.
Oh, I've never heard of that or been in there.
There's more to the Strass than just the big auditorium.
Oops.
But anyways, we're getting off topic. So my last word this week is I'm excited for next weekend. We get to celebrate one of our podcast hosts' birthday, Mr. Shawn. His birthday's Monday of next week. But we are going down to South Florida.
Again.
So I'm excited to celebrate your birthday with you and join you on what I know is going to be a very exciting concert.
Yeah.
Miss Janet Jackson kicking off her what tour?
All for You. Wait, no, that's wrong.
I
Together
like
Again.
Even I was like, that don't sound right. Together Again?
Yes.
All right, she's kicking off her Together Again tour down in the Hard Rock in South Florida. So this will be our first time attending nope, that's wrong. Nope. It's our first time going to a opening concert together. But like, no, we went to Bad Bunny. That was the opening concert.
Yes, that's true. This is our second opening concert.
But we've never been to the Hard Rock Theater down in South Florida. So that's exciting.
Yeah, that is cool.
So I'm excited to celebrate you next weekend, have your concert, and yeah. Are we doing a podcast next week?
I don't know how that's possible, but
so if you're listening to this, there may not be another one until we return from Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
So, but stay tuned to our socials. We'll obviously be posting because, that's what we do.
Yes.
So check out our social. But that's my last word. And speaking of social, I just told you to follow it. Now I'm going to tell you about it. Shawn, do we have an Instagram?
We do. And you can follow us there at Moss_podcast.
I won't make jokes about these two anymore because they're getting stale. You can follow us on Twitter and TikTok. All of you know what's going on with Twitter. One thing on TikTok.
What?
A listener of the pod sent me a video about on TikTok about reasons that congressional people are wanting to ban TikTok. And it's because it's created a uniformed community amongst people with different beliefs, understandings. And it's really bringing these people together to fight more for equality.
Yeah.
And even though people see TikTok as a place of misinformation and miseducation, I have actually seen a lot of good commentators, political figures, really hitting facts on TikTok. So that particular video that the listener sent me really focused on the real reason. And it might be far-fetched, but it does make sense that we want to ban an app that brings information, empowers people, and brings people together to get educated.
Right. Like that one guy that we saw that was talking about there being more than one gender. And he knew because he was a biologist.
Yes.
And he was explaining.
That was also sent to me by a viewer.
Okay. But the way that he was explaining that, there is more than one gender. And just because someone appears male or female because of different attributes doesn't necessarily mean that that is their gender. And the way that he broke it down, I was like, someone get this man on a stage.
I was like, maybe
get him on TV.
I'm like, can I DM him? Maybe he'll come on our pod.
Because he was speaking truth.
He broke that shit down. So I say all that because everybody wants to ban TikTok. And every week I make a joke about the Twitter and TikTok. But I think TikTok can be a good source of good knowledge. And TikTok actually puts a magnifying glass on the videos to where you can research out what is being told on that video.
Right.
So it allows you to truly become empowered and knowledgeable, which I think scares people.
Yeah, there was, not to make this outro any longer, but there was also another guy on there who broke down the way that a bill that Trump signed, how the taxes gave regular Americans a break for a year. And then the following year, their taxes went up and people were blaming Biden for it, but he was like, actually, this was something that Trump signed and it gave you a little bit of a tax break, but the following year, corporations got more tax breaks and your taxes actually went higher. It's not actually Biden's fault. And he broke down exactly like in words that people can that normal people can understand why it worked that way.
Yeah.
TikTok is amazing.
I think it is.
It's not just for fun and jokes.
It's not for everyone's creative meals.
I love her.
But you can follow us there and Twitter at MAS_podcast22.
Yes, and you can email us at mannyandShawn@gmail.com. That's MANNYANZSHAWN@gmail.com.
And then we have a YouTube where we put our videos or our streamed audio. If you are like, I don't like listening to Apple Podcasts, then you can just stream us on the youtube.com/the @MAS podcast. So that'll do it for us this week. You heard it here first. There will not be one next Sunday, the 16th. But if you're new here, it's a great time to go get caught up. Like, we did a trivia one 2 pods back. Was that 29? You can learn about bananas and strawberries. I'm never going to drop that. Like, that fact blew my mind. And I'm not going to give it to you because I want you to go listen to it. Or, spoiler, you can listen to the last one. We spoiled it there too. Oh, but anyways, we're out of here. Don't forget to follow our pod on your favorite streaming platform or subscribe to us on YouTube to receive alerts when our podcast drops. You can search us by typing MANNYANDSHAWN. That's Manny and Shawn.
Yes, and don't forget to write a review and rate us on your favorite streaming platform. Helps our pod grow.
Yes. Spotify now has where you can leave comments under the episodes.
Oh, yes. Go out there and do that.
Yeah. And as we like to say here on the Moss podcast,
do something good for yourself.
Then do something good for someone else, because you never know what somebody's going through.
Yeah. Mend those friendships.
Mend those relationships.
If you want to.
If you want to. Do something good. And definitely get involved. I feel like we're at a pivotal point in our country right now. We can't let the excitement, no, bad word. We can't let the buzz of what's going on right now just go back into the back seat, because then we'll go into this next election and we'll vote the same.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Let's not do that. Let's get out there. Let's get empowered. If you're friends with people, bring them along with you. If you're not friends with people, I'm sure you're going to make a new friend there.
Yes.
And they may have the same values as you. Friendship made in heaven there.
Or if you haven't registered for your mail-in ballot, do that. I don't know what the deadline is in your state or where, but make sure that you have done that, because they are making it so that you have to re-register for it.
Yeah. Especially in Florida. If you're listening to us from Florida, check your mail-in ballots, because my hours was up. Yes. And if you had not told me, I would not have gotten a ballot. And I would have to take my fat ass to go vote in person, which I hate. I hate being around people. Anyways, that'll do it for us this week. We hope you enjoyed this conversation on a very important topic. Not only gun control, racism that continues being spotlighted in our country, but also the young generation. They're just tired.
We are all tired.
We're all tired, but I think they're like, you know what? We're the ones that got another 40, 50, 60 years on this planet. Well, okay. Maybe we still got that much too, but
I mean, climate change is real.
Anyway,
it's real.
So they're here fighting for what's right for them as well. So I think us that are more seasoned should support these young activists, and let's just stop making racist decisions in our country. All right, peeps. We are out. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye, y'all.
We'll probably talk about Janet.
Oh, for sure.
And whatever crazy adventures we have in Fort Lauderdale.
Looking forward to it.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Together again.
That's not how that goes.
How does it go?
Everywhere I see, I know you are there, smiling back at me, dancing in the moonlight. I know you are free, 'cause I can see us shining down on me together again. Ooh, good times.
Okay, bye. I gotta go. It's time to go. Bye. Bye, 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 bye. Sorry for your ears.
Rude.
Whatever.